Hello, everyone. Welcome to Deaf Mute Studio. This is the Memo by Deaf podcast. I'm joined by Garrath Gibson. Garrath, hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
You are always welcome, my friend. Today, Gib, we need to talk about Poltergeist. Because this year, it turns 40.
40? My God.
40 yonks old.
That's, yeah, I didn't realise it was that old.
It's insane. Came out in 1982. WTF.
What a year for films, by the way.
Oh,
yeah, a lot of competition.
I miss the 80s, Gib. A simpler time. A time where I wasn't even born in 1982. I miss them days. So much more simple.
Yeah, 1982. So that would have been, Spielberg released E.T., didn't he, in 82?
Yeah.
Then The Thing came out. Yeah, The Thing came out. Showing the Rockies came out as well. Maybe it was Rocky 3 or something. But yeah, quite a lot of classic films came out that year.
Yeah, great year. I'm kind of jealous that I wasn't there for it, but like I said, I'm happy I wasn't because it was just so much simpler back then.
Yeah,
not being in existence.
I'd have got nothing done. I'd have been in the cinema every fucking day.
But on the plus side, it was only 2 years later till I burst out me ma.
Same.
Like an alien.
Like 1984, another good year as well. And not just because we were born, but for movies as well.
I'm telling you, mate, it kind of coincides with us coming into the world that cinema got really good.
I'd say so, yeah. It can't be a coincidence.
No, it's probably, now don't quote me here, but it could be some sort of a Lovecraftian prophecy.
Oh yes, absolutely.
where Cthulhu comes.
It's like we willed it into the world.
Yeah, I mean, hell, if we're going to destroy the world, Gib, we might as well go out with Cthulhu. Right, why are we talking about this, right? Poltergeist.
Oh, yeah, Poltergeist, yeah.
So, yeah, for anyone who's not in the know, well, first of all, the podcast did have a spoiler message on, as always, but I'll go through the plot.
Mm-hmm.
I'll read a little synopsis. I don't know why I said it like that. So, a young family are visited by ghosts in their home. At first, the ghosts appear friendly, moving objects around the house to the amusement of everyone, then turn nasty and start to terrorize the family before they kidnap the youngest daughter. Now, Poltergeist is a strange one for me, Gib.
Yeah.
I watched it a couple of weeks back, or maybe it was last week. I don't know. And it was directed by, is it Tobe Hooper or Tobe Hooper?
Is it Tobe Hooper?
Tobe Hooper. That's I always find myself asking that. It's like David Bowie. Is it Bowie or is it Bowie?
Yeah, it's because of the way it's spelled, isn't it? It's spelled like Tobe, like.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but I mean, unless people just pronounce it incorrect, so usually people pronounce it Tobe Hooper. So
then it shall be Tobe Hooper for the rest of this podcast. I don't want to annoy anyone. So yeah, the thing that really struck out to me is it. I am not a fan of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, see ya. Right, I'm getting off. See you later.
To me, it's just loud noises, Gib.
It is a bit shrill in parts. Yeah, I'll give you that.
So to go from Texas Chainsaw Massacre to Poltergeist, the two completely different films in terms of style.
Definitely.
If anything, it's got the fingerprints of Steven Spielberg on it more than it does Tobe Hooper.
I'd say so. Yeah. There's been a massive debate, like, for a long time, that basically, like, Spielberg actually directed it. So basically he wrote it, and I think he did produce it as well.
Yeah.
But I think he was like under contract with Universal that he couldn't release anything or direct anything until E.T. came out.
Oh.
So people like sometimes assume that he just hired Tobe Hooper as like the name and then kind of like used him as a puppet basically and just directed the film himself. But there's a lot of conflicting stories with that really. Like some of the actors came out like quite a while ago, like saying that no, Tobe Hooper did definitely like, you know, he was definitely in charge of directing it and stuff. But I feel like maybe Spielberg might have kind of reeled him back a little bit.
Yeah,
that's my take on it. Maybe he reeled him back a little bit. But yeah, it has got his fingerprints on it for sure. It's like anything Michael Bay produces, like it's a fucking Michael Bay film, isn't it? Like you watch those like, you know, those like the Tale remakes and stuff like that. Like it's got his sensibilities all over it, hasn't it? Absolutely. You could tell he's you know, even like down to the shots and stuff like that. So I think that's probably a similar situation that happened with Poltergeist. Yeah, that makes sense to me. But I just think I think it was just I think the reason why it's so good, I think it was just a good partnership. Yeah, I mean, why look for conspiracies when you should just be congratulating on a great film? Yeah. I mean, you know, it's it was a PG, but it is fucking very dark for a PG. I was going to mention the PG actually because it's got a lot of crazy shit in there. People tearing their own faces off in the sink. It's got little women who are apparently clairvoyant. That terrifies me. And it's got kids and TVs, which kids should never be on TV. Gib. Not a fan. No, fuck them. Not literally. I'm not about that. I'm glad you cleared that up. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it was just a good. I mean, it was just a good partnership. Yeah, like you said, I think people should maybe focus on that. And yeah, I'm pretty sure. I can imagine Steven Spielberg was probably very hands-on, especially because he wrote it as well. Yeah. But I think maybe like the fingerprints and the style of it was probably come from, you know, it was him writing it. So, yeah, it does have a bit of a Steven Spielberg like sort of bow on the end and stuff, like, you know, it's got a bit of a, you know, kind of a happy-ish ending, hasn't it? And a lot of Tobe Hooper films didn't. So, but yeah, no, like I say, I think they both did a great job on it. Yeah, I think when I watched it, I think one of the main things that stood out to me were how good the visual effects were, although clearly dated, but not in a bad way. Like in a this is a classic film kind of sense. Yeah, well, I am a massive fan of optical effects that they use. Like it was ILM that did the effects for this one. Same effects that they did in Ghostbusters as well, and you can tell kind of you can tell the style kind of But I still think that really holds up. There's a few other shots in there that, like, you know, do look a little bit dated, but yeah, I think there's like, especially the, you know, the legged monster, you know, like the big legged ghost and so I think that still looks pretty good now. And just like the ghosts in Ghostbusters, you know, still really holds up. Yeah, 100%. I mean, that great mix of practical and, you know, say optical, you know, so shot on green screen, and I think it looks great. I mean, I'm not being a cinematic snob when I say, like, I prefer them kinds of visual effects. You get a sense of a little bit grounded, although it is a visual effect, but you can see that people have worked on it rather than all the green screen and shoddy CGI that we get a lot today on really big budget films. Yeah, and there's a lack of craft. Like I'm not knocking CGI artists, that what they do is amazing, but I think
I think the issue is nowadays is that it's producers, studios not given the effects houses enough time to really do a good job.
Yeah, there's too much deadlines, but and yeah, it's obviously, you know, a lot more time consuming. It's probably a lot more expensive to have, you know, people building stuff, bringing it to set. But then it's cheaper to film stuff these days as well. So you'd think, you know, it'd kind of level out a little bit, but I just don't think people are interested, to be honest. I like seeing actors as well react to things in front of them.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think it's also a case of CGI just seems to be like an easy answer to a difficult question. It's like someone will go, oh well, we could do a puppet here and try some smoke and mirrors, and then someone just goes, well, that's a lot of effort. Just give it to a CGI effects house.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's no real thought into it, and it's, you know, like you said, like you're not giving anyone any time to do a really good job because it's not really thought through. It just seems like an afterthought.
Yeah, and most of the time it just looks really flat as well, and especially like months. We spoke about this with the werewolf episode that we did. Just doesn't look. It just looks flat. It doesn't look real. You know it doesn't look real. I think like the best CGI is when you know that it's not CGI. Like, you know, a lot of like landscapes and things like that, and when they make things look bigger than they actually are, and you're like, oh shit, was that really really CGI? I saw something about like I'm not just going a bit off Poltergeist, but I think it was Wolf of Wall Street, and like they listed like how many CGI effects was in that, and I was like, really? I didn't even notice, but it was all like background stuff, and you know, sort of like things like where they are, and that's what it should be utilized for like things like that. But not really like characters and monsters and stuff. Like I just want to see that, you know, I want to see that.
No, I mean, I think the best example of using CGI for just like little touches and flourishes is David Fincher does it really well because he's got a background at ILM. He knows what he's doing. But the most recent one I can think of is the Batman.
Yeah,
because we you know, we live in Liverpool. We've seen St. George's Hall, and we know exactly what the surrounding area looks like. But in the Batman, completely different, and it looked incredible.
They blended it so well, didn't they? Like the you know, and say the like Gotham kind of became its own character. But yeah, they must have shot in like so many different locations, but it all looked like the same place.
Yeah, it was incredible stuff.
That's things like that. That's what CGI should be used for, like computer effects and things like that. So, but yeah, going off there again on a tangent.
Yeah. So back to Poltergeist. Another thing that I picked up on, which I thought was hilarious, was the family itself and the kind of their attitude towards, like, mainly the parents.
Yeah.
I mean, you see them smoking weed in the house, and the little daughter walks in, and instead of the mum going, "Oh, God, get that weed away," she goes, "Come on, sweetie." And I'm like, one, PG-13, it wasn't even a PG-13, that didn't exist then. It was a PG film. And you're showing parents taking an illegal substance at the time.
Yeah.
Just flippantly.
I really like the fact, like, I do really like the family dynamic in the whole film. And I don't know the name of the couple that are in it, like the character names, but yeah, I like the dynamic of it. Like they do seem like they've been together a long time. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, that part is pretty funny though.
Yeah, it just seems quite real to me. I mean,
yeah, but I mean that's the thing. It's you know what kind of saves them in the end is, like, you know, they all band together and, you know, and sort of beat, you know, and beat it and stuff. But it, like, I think all that stuff at the beginning, it does actually make it kind of, it adds to it at the end, you know, when they are all, you know, trying to get the girl back, and, you know, fighting these big fucking things that are after him, yeah, clowns and long-legged things and stuff, yeah.
That clown, by the way, my God. I believe Steven Spielberg added two of his biggest fears in as a kid into Poltergeist, and that was the clown and the tree outside his window.
Yeah, there was something very classic about the tension that built with the little lad. It did have that sort of like sort of those very classic horror like fears. It doesn't surprise me that was like it's like from his taken from his experience.
I mean, I was watching it with my mum and my sister, and as soon as you see the clown in the kid's bedroom, my mum's like, I would not have that in the house. I'm paraphrasing, but it was essentially, that can fuck right off.
Yeah, it's a bit weird that like why would any parent buy that for their kids?
It was massive as well. It was like 6 foot.
Yeah, it was like there was I mean there's we can get on this in a bit, but there's obviously a lot of stories about what happened on the making of this film and some of the others. But yeah, there was stories about like when it wraps around the kid's neck, the clown, like apparently like there was a fault in the mechanics of it or something, and it was actually really choking him.
Oh wow.
I don't know if there's how much truth there is to that, but yeah, there's been a lot of stories that have come out about this film, and don't know if that's true. I hope it wasn't, but
well, it's famously one of the cursed films. Like you've got The Exorcist and Poltergeist. I mean,
Poltergeist is probably more so because of kind of like the span from the three films. So obviously, like there's like quite famously four actors from each film. Two from the first one, and then two from the second one, I think, have died. Yeah. But like, pretty sad ways as well. Obviously, starting from like the little girl. I think she died while they were making the third one. When she was, I think she was 12. Yeah, they like misdiagnosed her with Crohn's disease or something, and she had like appendix problems. But because they'd misdiagnosed her, she went to cardiac arrest apparently, and it was while they were like not while they were filming, but it was during the filming of it. So yeah, that was pretty sad. And I think the sister the sister in the first one, she got killed by her ex-boyfriend or something.
Yeah, choked to death, I believe.
Yeah, she was only like 22, which
I agree with you, mate. It's in terms of cursed category, it beats The Exorcist. It's a really sad story behind such a positive film for me.
Yeah, I know, it's strange. Like, and then Will Sampson, who was in one of the Cuckoo's Nest as well. But he was chief in it, and I think he died. I think he was filming the second one or something like that. Like lung problems, but it was something. I think that again, it was something that was really like sudden. And then have you seen any of the sequels?
I have not. No.
No, you've seen the freaky looking skinny dude.
Yes.
Yeah. So he died as well. I think he died after the filming of the second one. Yeah, but I think he was meant to be. Well, allegedly he was already sick before he filmed the first one. So. But it's pretty sad, really. I don't know. I don't really know how you could say it was like cursed, really, but.
Yeah, it's just it's just got a series of unfortunate events attached to it.
Yeah. I mean, the Exorcist one, you could probably say a little bit more because I think there was a lot more deaths, and that was actually like during the filming of the. I think they did. It was a long period of time that they filmed that, though. But but yeah, you got to make a story out of it, I guess.
Yeah, and in a macabre kind of way, it adds to the legends of Poltergeist. It gives it a little bit more staying power.
Yeah. I think that, as I say, at one point was probably more, people talked about that more than the actual film.
Yeah.
It's sad. But yeah, there's also like rumblings about the scene at the end when they're in the swimming pool with the skeletons, because they were meant to have used real skeletons that they'd like imported from like India or something, and they claimed that like because they used them, that's the reason why the film got cast. Which just seems really meta to me.
you just move the headstones.
Yeah. It seems like, again, like it was like a curse within a cursed story. So yeah, I don't know, but I think using skeletons in like old films, I think that was a pretty common practice, to be honest. So I don't know, especially like in the 50s and things like that. Like a lot of the old horror films and all the Vincent Price and William Castle ones, like they used to use real skeletons. So
well, I mean, like back in the day, the codes and conducts of produced, like animals used to get like sacrifice, well, not literally sacrifice, but like they never had any animal control quality. Like there was no animals were harmed during the making of this film because they were. Yeah. So it's just what happened back in the day.
Yeah, you couldn't do any of that stuff now. I don't think you could use real skeletons in a film.
No, believe me, I've tried.
Yeah, and again, it's never even been confirmed if that's actually true, but I mean, they do look pretty gnarly, so wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, again, it could just be more stories to add to the to the lore of the film, just to kind of make it more, not relevant, but to add a little extra layer of, oh, this is interesting. It's not just a film.
Yeah, pre-internet as well. Like you could get away with spouting a lot of shit about films as well. Like people couldn't look them up. Like how long did we think the guy in the background in Three Men and a Baby, like thinking it was a fucking ghost? And when you watched it on VHS, it did actually look quite spooky, you know what I mean? But if you watched it on like Disney Plus now, I think it's on Disney Plus, you're just like, yeah, it's a fucking cardboard cutout, you can see. I was so disappointed in that. I used to tell everyone about that. Oh, we've got it on video. Come round and watch it.
It's like this like Chinese whisper thing going on, isn't it? Like,
yeah, exactly. You could get away with it, like back in the day when we were pre-Google.
Yeah, I mean, you'd end up like with a purple monkey dishwasher scenario, don't you? Where it's like, what?
Yeah, I think like the one that used to baffle me, that people used to be adamant about, that it was fucking the lad from the Wonder Years was Marilyn Manson.
Yes,
remember? And I was like, I was having none of that when I was at school, and like I was like, I think the Wonder Years was still on at the time when Marilyn Manson was releasing albums, but yeah, people were having none of it though. People thought the Blair Witch was real.
I mean, one of my hobbies, I really shouldn't do it, but it's just so much fun, is I like to tell people that some actors are gay when I have no idea about their sexuality. Just to see if it does the rounds and it gets back to me and someone tells me the lie that I told someone else down the line.
You don't do British actors though, do you? It might come back to bite you in the arse though.
No, well, the last one I did it for was the lads from the Kingsman. What's his name? Taron Egerton?
Yeah.
Or Egerton?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling everyone in work that he was gay. I was like, do you know he's gay?
I thought he was actually gay.
It's worked.
I think he is actually gay though.
I was right.
Yeah, maybe maybe a rumor got to him, and he's like, you know what, I might as well.
Exactly.
I may be wrong.
I've changed his life for the better.
I may be thinking that just because he played Elton John.
or you may be thinking that because you heard the rumor that I started.
That's what it could be, yeah.
There we go. It's so much fun, Gib. If you ever meet someone who's just like with a little sprinkle of gullibility in them, just drop name a celebrity and go, do you know that guy?
You got to pass the time somehow, aren't you?
Exactly, and it's great fun.
You've got to pass the 9 to 5, you know. So somehow. And
also, it's a good way of weeding out the homophobes.
Absolutely.
Because if you get someone that goes, "Oh, is he? All right, good for him," or you get someone that goes, "Hey," and you're like, "You're a homophobe," and then you can banter them into being shamed.
Or you can catch them out when they try to be overly okay with it.
Yeah, by putting your hand on the knee and winking at them.
You're like, I'm absolutely fine with it. I've got no problem with it whatsoever. He's like, oh, you protest too much.
You get right up close to the face and stroke it and go, "Are you, babes? Are you really good with it?"
Yeah, you're out the clique. Get out.
Oh, we've diverged again, Gib.
Poltergeist.
Oh, so this is next question for you, Gib. It's like I've got down here. Like, when did you first watch Poltergeist? And the reason I've put that in because one, it's quite interesting, and two, I have no idea when I first watched Poltergeist. I just always remember having seen Poltergeist.
Yeah, I was going to say exactly the same. It feels like it was like a BBC Two film. Like it was probably it was probably like a Friday night, Saturday night BBC Two film or something like that. That's probably when I first watched it. Then when again, like I got to that age where I was, I had a job. I could start. I basically, I had money. I started tracking down all these classic horror movies on DVD and importing them and stuff like that. Yeah, I think I got for it. I got that. Must have bought I think there was like a special edition that came out in like 2005 or something. Yeah. Probably the first time I'd watched it since I was a kid, and it was just like watching it for the first time. Liked it. It was just probably really wasn't like my type of horror that I was into at that time. I'm not massively into ghost stuff, to be honest. It's it's never really, it's not my go-to subgenre of horror. But I've always liked it. Until I think it was a couple of years ago when I went to watch a Tobe Hooper marathon at the Plaza.
Oh, nice.
So it's like 4 films. So it's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Poltergeist, and then Salem's Lot. I don't think we stayed for Salem's Lot because
it's a long film.
It's like 3.5 hours long. Yeah, I don't think it finished till about 10 o'clock. So, but I wanted to watch the first 3 anyway. And I think when I watched that, then I'd not seen it since I bought it on DVD in 2005. So again, it was like a totally new experience, and I like really, really liked it, like a lot more. Maybe it was just watching it on the big screen, or maybe it was just I don't know. Maybe I just sort of come around to it a bit more. Like my taste has kind of changed, but like I was like, I fucking really love that film. Like it's just so fun. Like it's a really it is really fun, and it does take a while to kind of get going. But I don't know. I've never really, like I said, I kind of quite like the family dynamics. I kind of just liked them, even before all the the shit hits the fan. I think it's done really well. That's probably a bit of Steven Spielberg, right, in writing it. That's probably the credit goes to that. But yeah, and I've watched it a couple of times since then, and it just went up quite a few notches in my book after seeing it then.
Yeah, I mean, like we're exactly the same there. It feels like one of them films that's just always been with me, so much to the fact that I could have sworn I owned it on Blu-ray, Gib.
Yeah,
I was trying to find it, and I'm going around going, where the fuck's my copy of Poltergeist? I was like, I definitely own Poltergeist. I know I do. I definitely do. I had to go through my collection 3 times, and then it was a case of, how do I not own Poltergeist?
Maybe it'd been in the shrink wrap too long, and it had just evaporated into, maybe the clown went and grabbed it and pulled it back in the TV. Like, right, he's not gonna fucking watch you.
Honestly, I think that I think there's some. I think that's happened, because I definitely remember having that cover in the collection of the girl with the hands on the TV.
Yeah, probably the special edition, the one I've got on DVD. I don't even know if there's a good Blu-ray release for it. I'm sure there's probably a good German one somewhere.
I'm sure I had it on Blu-ray. Even now, I'm thinking it's in the loft. But it would have been just like just a standard edition, like a standard special edition, like not like a collector's one.
Yeah.
Which I don't have in the loft. I've got all my standards with me.
Right.
In this weird futon thing hidden away. It would have been in there, Gib. There'd be no reason for it not to be in there. And I don't want to go in the loft because the spider's there.
Yeah.
And as we all know, spiders are knobheads.
If there was ever a time for something bad to happen to you in a loft as well, it'd be while you were taking out Poltergeist.
So it's
try it again.
It's in the ether.
Try it again. I'm sure it'll be cheap.
Yeah. I had to rent it on Amazon Prime. It wasn't that expensive, but still, these things I don't like doing, Gib, especially when I have a strong suspicion that I already own the physical copy of it.
That's another level of laziness, just renting something because you don't want to go in the loft.
First world problems, Gib.
But it's one of them films that I've watched a lot more like recently, and I think it would like repeat viewings. I kind of enjoy it a lot more like each time.
I think it's aged so well. Not just because I like the effects in it, but as a film, it's got horror, it's got comedy, it's got good family moments. It's
got that like Spielbergian kind of like again like a bow type, like it's like a family film that kind of tends into a nightmare.
It really it was a good film to watch with the family, thus making it a good family film. Granted, we've not got. I was going to say younglings in the family. What am I, a Jedi? I mean, we're all grown up now, so it's. But still, I'm pretty sure I watched it with my mum as a kid because she let me watch it. But it's still a good family film, and it's not a mean-spirited film either. It's got a very
exactly. I think that's what it's very accessible, even though it is quite dark in parts. But it is like I say, it was a PG. I don't know what it is now. Like I'll have to look at my DVD. I can imagine it's not still a PG because
maybe a 12.
I'd say it was probably a 12. Yeah. But it's like it's got no swearing or anything like that. I don't know, or like any nudity or anything. But it's a bit rough for kids, I could imagine, especially back then. Maybe not so much now, but I probably would have still loved it watching it at any age. But
I mean, it was originally classified as NC-17 in the States.
What?
And then somehow
a massive jump.
Yeah, and somehow got it down to a PG. What did they cut out?
Yeah, well, I mean, even kind of like a bit more of a funnier story. So, like when Tobe Hooper, when he filmed the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, he was filming that to be a PG, which I can't really. Yeah. Yeah, he was just like, yeah, it's got PG all over it. Come on, but I mean, there isn't actually a lot of like on-screen violence in it, but it's more like tone and stuff. Like it's just it's like it's a very bleak movie. But yeah, I think was it that, or there was another Spielberg film was the reason why like the PG-13 rating happens?
Yes, it was.
Could have been this. It might have been Poltergeist, or
I think it was something a bit bigger, you know.
Or was it Indiana Jones or something like that?
Maybe.
Yeah, might have been Temple of Doom. Again, another very hard PG film.
It is, yeah. People having their hearts ripped out.
Yeah. And it always makes me funny. Like, I always find it really funny when they put it on TV and there's just like so much of it cut out.
I'm always so disappointed by that with the TV edit. It's like, you cut that bit out.
Yeah, I don't even know why just put it on at 9 o'clock or put it on 8 o'clock.
I think most of it's down to runtime, to be honest, because with TV you've got to slide it into a specific time slot, haven't you? And you can't be doing like an hour 36 when you've only got an hour and a half.
Yeah,
including credits.
There is like certain bits that they cut out for like.
Oh yeah, for censorship, yeah.
Censorship reasons, yeah. I remember what they had the Karate Kid films on Film 4 over Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
When we'd like just moved into this flat and ordered a pizza. I was like, that's a good Sunday afternoon film to watch. And there's loads of that cut out as well. Like I don't know, just like
because when I was a kid, you probably did the same, mate. It's you used to record the films off the TV on VHS, and then absolutely. it was Goonies for me. I'd always watched the TV version of the Goonies.
Yeah.
So when it was released on DVD, like it wasn't a completely different film, but I was like, oh my god, they swear so much in this.
Yeah, they do. But there was a lot of stuff that was cut out. I think I must have like recorded off ITV or something, and Goonies, again Karate Kid. Like I'd say, I'd watched that for the first 10, 15 years of my life on a recording, and then when I watched like a DVD of it, and I'm like, what? I don't remember that bit happening. That fight scene went on a bit longer than I remember. I remember they even used to cut out the fucking crane kick, like the biggest part of the film. You just see him do that, and then they just cut away, and you just what else was there? There was a few others as well. A couple of Tim Burton films, definitely. I'm sure there's like Beetlejuice. Oh, Edward Scissorhands as well. Oh god, they used to show that on Channel 5, and it was just like, the whole like we must have cut out about 20 minutes of the film. And again, that was maybe a bit rough for a PG as well, but I didn't think so at the time though, because I remember going to the cinema to see that. I fucking loved it. So
you see, I'm game for that. If like what I had with the Goonies, that was my first experience watching it. Because then when you get to see the proper version, it's like you're just like, this boss. This is even better. It's like seeing a director's cut.
Yeah.
So that's what that meant.
Did you ever have it when you used to record films, but you'd maybe like didn't get it from the beginning, so you got it about 15 minutes in, and that's the only part of the movie, and then again when you bought it on DVD and you saw the first 15 minutes of it, I was like, I've never seen this before.
Yeah, that happened with me with Aliens. It's on my record, it started with Ripley and the Marines.
Oh, right, okay.
So I missed.
That's quite far into it.
It is, isn't it? It was terrible recording. So when I saw Aliens on it was VHS. I bought the VHS box set.
Yeah,
it was just like, oh my god, I've missed out on so much. This is so much better.
Yeah, you on like a lot of plot as well.
And then the director's cut of Aliens came out with an even newer beginning.
Yeah,
with Newt's family, and I was like, I'm in heaven. It's amazing.
I think I remember. That same situation with Christmas Vacation. I think like the first 10 minutes, I must have watched it like on a recording, got about 50 times. But I'd never actually seen it the first 10 minutes. So when I watched it when I was a bit older, and you saw like the cartoon at the beginning and stuff like that, and then picking up the tree, and like it's like probably one of the funniest bits in the film. Yeah, I'd never seen that bit. I was like, oh my god, this is like it's so funny. And then yeah, I think my thing got up to the bit where he's like in the office and he's like going like kiss my ass, kiss his ass, like. So yeah, there was probably a few like that. Oh, the simpler times.
The good old days, the early 90s.
But yeah, I can imagine even Poltergeist, even it being a PG, I bet it was never shown at anything before. I
mean, I'm fascinated by this film, to be honest. Like, not even with the backstory or what happened to the cast. The film itself, it's not like any other ghost film I've ever seen before.
No, I'd say it was definitely my favorite like haunted house movie, and I don't think it's ever been topped, to be honest. I know people really love Insidious, but I've always just thought that was it was always a poor man's Poltergeist in my eyes.
I mean that takes me nicely to me next question is what is this the best ghost film ever made, and what comes close to it?
Yeah, as I say, it's not my go-to subgenre really with horror, but
yeah, there's not that many that spring to mind. I mean, like you said, Insidious, but
yeah, it's just not my like the Conjuring films and things like that. I'm not really, they're fine, like they're absolutely fine. It's just they're too glossy, they're too polished for me.
I mean, I really liked Insidious. I think it's got one of the best jump scares ever. With the I don't know his name, but the red and black painted face man behind Patrick Wilson. That was amazing for me. I bought it.
What's that in the trailer though? I pretty much remember seeing. I feel like I remember like seeing that before I'd seen the actual film, so it was just
right.
Yeah, I wasn't really, I don't know. It didn't really have the same effect for me, but
I must have watched the trailer then and just gone in blind. But yeah, I really like the first Conjuring film. I think
don't get me wrong, they're good. Yeah, like I wouldn't really watch them again though. I think that I remember The Conjuring 2 being pretty good as well.
I liked it.
It's fine. Yeah, but I think Poltergeist is definitely up there for me. Yeah, there's just it's just got that kind of magic, which is very hard to recreate, and hence the terrible remake that came out.
On the remake.
Yeah,
I can't remember anything about it.
Yeah, I don't think I got through the whole thing, to be honest.
I think the only reason I watched it is because I'm a big fan of Sam Rockwell.
Yeah, I don't think even he could save that film. He looked pretty bored in it.
No, I think that's the most damning thing you could say about the remake is that we don't know anything about it, despite the fact that we watched it.
It was just so by the numbers and really bland, and I didn't like rent it, or I think I just must have watched it on Sky Movies or something. I just like switched over. That's really boring.
Yeah, and I think that lends well into what you were saying about it, mate. It's like with the original, it's got that Spielberg magic. It's got that. It's got someone making it who's really fucking good at what they do. I know he didn't direct it. It was Tobe Hooper, but. Yeah. Spielberg, specifically back then in the 80s, early 90s, he was on top form. He could not miss.
Yeah, and just think he that was released, and E.T. was released in the same year. He couldn't do no wrong back then. And then I think, was it Close Encounters after that, or maybe that was beforehand? I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. It was there. They were there and thereabouts, weren't they? In that same time. Shocking fact for you, Gib. I've never watched Close Encounters.
No, it's a very good film.
I've got a Spielberg Blu-ray box set. It's got Jewel. Is it Jewel? his first film. It's got Duel, Close Encounters, Jurassic Park 1 and 2, E.T. And I'm going to shock you again now, Gib. I'm not a fan of E.T.
Yeah, I'm getting off. That's 2-0. I absolutely fucking love E.T. And if you ever want to see me, you want to ever see a grown man fighting back tears, put the end of E.T. on, and every fucking time it gets me.
To be honest, I watched it when I wasn't really into that kind of film. I was all about the Predator. I was all about aliens. Yeah. If it wasn't adult, I wasn't interested. So it does deserve another rewatch because honestly, I can't remember much from E.T.
Yeah, no, I'd give it another watch definitely. It's probably something you'd have a bit more appreciation for now.
I reckon so. Yeah.
It's such a good film. And so speaking of E.T., so Jerry Goldsmith, who did the score for Poltergeist, which is fucking fantastic.
It is great, yeah.
Absolutely amazing score. So that was nominated for an Oscar, which he lost out to for John Williams' score for E.T., which is fair enough.
That bastard John Williams again. How dare he?
Fair enough. It is one of the greatest scores I think that's ever been made. So, and any other score that you could probably put above it is probably someone else by John Williams, to be honest. So, but yeah, Jerry Goldsmith's score's fucking amazing in it, and definitely adds to the tension of especially near towards the third act as well.
Jerry Goldsmith scores, man. It's
he's done some good fucking films.
He's done some amazing work, but you never really hear him get spoken about in the same way as John Williams, Hans Zimmer. He's not trendy.
Very under the radar, but he's done some very famous scores. We did The Omen, which obviously people probably know the score for The Omen more than the actual film itself. He did First Blood, which scoring that's fucking amazing as well.
Amazing film.
Amazing film. I could go. I mean, trying to think anything else. I think he did LA Confidential. The list. I'm sure the list is of classic films. But I'm sure any other year he probably would have won an Oscar for that score. But then I guess it was a horror film as well. So
and the Academy are massive snobs when it comes to stuff like that.
They would have had to change the genre into a thriller.
Or refer to it as elevated horror.
Yeah, exactly. Brave horror, But yeah, Silence of the Lambs, obviously wasn't a horror film. It was it was a suspense thriller. So that's why it won loads of Oscars,
and Get Out wasn't a horror film. It was a social critique.
Exactly. So it was elevated, Yeah, I was surprised by Get Out. I guess that was they broke a few barriers, that one. So I feel like if it came out a year beforehand, but if it had come out a bit later, I think Hereditary would have been up for some Oscars.
Yeah,
I think so, especially Toni Collette's performance. But
the fact that I don't even think she was nominated, was she?
No, God, no. But I feel like it came out a year before Get Out, so maybe if it had come out a couple of years later,
But then again, I put little to no stock in the Academy and the Oscars. It means fuck all to me.
I don't, but then when a film that I like gets if a film or an actor that I like wins, then I'm
I think the moment I officially checked out of the Oscars is when Nick Nolte didn't win Best Supporting Actor for Warrior.
Was he nominated for Warrior? Yeah,
I believe he was. Yes, in fact, I'm pretty sure he was because I was singing his praises. I was going, Oscar, that's an Oscar performance. That I cried twice in that film. Deserves an Oscar.
Yeah, he was good in that.
That was amazing. I love it. But we keep diverging, Gib. We should call this podcast The Great Divergence. Well, what I was gonna say was going on to Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
I'm kind of on this. I'm on this Renaissance trip with him now.
Yeah.
Because for a very long time, love Steven Spielberg. It's like the best filmmaker ever. And then I got a bit rebellious, Gib. I started watching more French films, more Hong Kong films. And anything I could get, anything that was released on tartan, I'd watch it. And then I started getting the mouth on me going, you know what? Steven Spielberg ain't shit.
Did the nose go up a little bit? Is that what it was?
Big time. And it was like that for a very long time. And I think his later films and what he used to be. But now I'm like with the films we're getting these days, and not to be a fucking hipster, but a lot of mainstream Hollywood blockbusters, they're just shit.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I'd love 80s, 90s Spielberg, or 70s, 80s, 90s Spielberg actually to come back and just show these little Hollywood turds how it's actually done, how you actually make a film that lasts
and stands the test of time. Yeah,
and
I always think though as well, like the in another there's like another universe where Steven Spielberg just went off and did horror movies, and I think he would have done them very well. You know, his first movie was a horror movie. He did Jaws, obviously Poltergeist as well, and I feel like there could have been this like subgenre of these very like accessible, family orientated horror movies, but were quite dark as well. He obviously just had bigger aspirations. But yeah, there's so many classic films. You couldn't even list them on a one podcast, could you?
No, definitely not.
A lot of films he's done that. I mean, I wouldn't even say that they're bad films. It's just films I'm not that interested in. But yeah, it's too many to live, especially from the 80s and 90s as well.
But I think it's also, I know, like I'm not a big fan of a lot of the big films coming out, but it's good that I don't like them, because I can go back and watch great films and go, this now, hey, and nudge no one next to me, go, this is what cinema is. That's what filmmaking is.
Don't make them like these anymore.
We were spoiled rotten back in the day.
But as I say, we still live in a great time. As I say, all these movies are so accessible as well. So if you want to ignore the shit that's coming out these days,
it's very easy. Yeah.
So what's your favorite Spielberg movie?
Oh, damn you. Damn you, Gib. Oh, shit.
See, that's what a...
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, off the top of my head, which I'm just saying to buy time so I can think more about what my favorite Steven Spielberg film is. Jesus.
Like you're throwing one just to throw my way, just to buy some time.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to say The Last Crusade, Gib.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. Yeah. It is what it is. I know I'll think of something better in about after the podcast, and I'll have to message you.
I think Last Crusade. I mean, it definitely must be a top 3 though.
It's just so good, Gib.
Yeah.
I put out on Twitter last night. I was watching Aliens. I was like, there's not that many films that could be classed as perfect, but Aliens is perfect.
Of course it is, yeah.
I think Last Crusade might be perfect.
Oh, yeah, Temple of Doom. I love Temple of Doom as well.
Oh, mate, people rag on Temple of Doom. I think it's boss.
Yeah, like, I love watching all three of them, like, especially as like a, to binge them. But yeah, as far as maybe like as perfection, Last Crusade. There's not a lot of faults. I couldn't.
And it was such a great way to end the trilogy, and it should have stopped there. We did not need any more Indiana Jones. But I love Temple of Doom. Temple of Doom, even for its flaws, it's culturally insensitive. It's got the worst female character in all of films, who's just a whinge bag. It's got the annoying kid from Ghostbusters in. I won't do the impression because I'll be branded as a racist. But yeah, I love Temple of Doom.
Yeah, Last Crusade.
I mean, Raiders is Raiders, man. Raiders is also amazing. But like, I keep while I was trying to think of my favorite Spielberg films, I don't know why it's not one of my favorites, but I keep on Minority Report kept on popping in my head.
Minority Report's amazing.
Came out
that film that totally just took me by surprise. That when I first watched it, I had no interest in watching it from like the trailers and things like that. It was just a bit of word of mouth, like saying how good it was. And when I watched it, I was like, "This is fucking amazing." So inventive as well, like the look of it, and quite. I had to watch it again. Yeah, I had to watch it again because I just really didn't take it in because I was just kind of like so wowed by like how it looked, and
it's the way it builds tension. It's like.
Yeah, the world building in it was just it was great. I absolutely love that film. There's too many to list. I'd say like as my favorite. The horror fan in me wants to say Jaws. The movie fan in me wants to say E.T. So it's whatever side of the bed I wake up on, it's one of them two, and then
So, what's your least favorite Spielberg film?
I remember not liking AI very much, but that was a long time ago when I watched it.
I'd forgotten about AI.
Yeah, I remember being really bored with that. But I did watch that like when it first came out, so I might have a different opinion of that. I'll have to have a little think about that. There's probably a few. There's a few that I've and whether, to be fair, whether they've actually been bad films, there's just some stuff he made. He is quite a diverse filmmaker as well.
Has he not gone? Has he done like Kubrick's well known for like genre hopping?
Yeah,
I think Spielberg's covered every genre.
Yeah, well, he's definitely hopped, and again, that's why a filmmaker like that, there's going to be certain things that's just not your cup of tea. That's not really a knock on him. I've always liked him more when he's like took risks, like Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan as well. Like
Yeah, but I'm sorry, I've got to retract my favorite Spielberg film.
Yeah,
it's fucking Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park as well.
Again, perfect.
Yeah. Although it does, I always feel like it dips for me a little bit, like in the sort of as it like later on. I don't know. Even when I was a kid, there was it just dipped for me a little bit. There's like a part of like in the third act, I feel like it just kind of stagnates a little bit in the story, and like I always still like just got so many fond memories of like the beginning, and when you first see the dinosaurs and all that, and the like that. I don't know. Maybe I just like that a bit more, but I do love Lost World as well. So
again, for all of its flaws, I love it, and compared to the new ones, it's a fucking masterpiece.
I think that's what it is. I mean, I guess that's happened with a lot of films. Even the films that weren't well received, you just compare it to like shit that comes out now, and it just looks better. I think I can't remember, someone did a video about Predator 2 a while ago, and Predator 2 used to get like ragged on quite a bit, didn't it? It's kind of, I think people kind of look back at it a bit more with a bit more affection now, because again, action movies are shit.
It just wins by comparison now. It's
exactly, and there's obviously been a lot of fucking awful Predator sequels as well. So I watched it recently. I think it's
mate, same. It's
got some quite shoddy looking CGI in it, but can't really blame that one. It was like 92 or whenever it came out. So
I think it's great.
Yeah, there's some films that get to they've aged a little bit better now, just because of like some shit that comes out now. So
100%. And I think that works. I think that works with Poltergeist as well. It's just like it top tier haunted house, ghost story, whatever, and not really much or what has preceded it just hasn't lived up for it, which makes Poltergeist even better.
I absolutely agree. I'd say it's definitely its reputation, especially like going to horror cons and things like that. Like it has got like it's probably a small, but it has got a very very diehard following. You see a lot more artwork and stuff like that done for it these days, and t-shirts and things like that. But yeah, it's I think a film that's going to be very timeless and age, even when it's 50 years old and 60 years old.
It's not too far off that already with it being 40. It's like, wow, it's so impressive. Just
and they say that a lot of the optical effects and stuff, I think it ages really well. The scene with the face ripping, I mean, I guess it kind of looks quite fake.
Yeah,
it does look. It adds to the creepiness of it, but it was a dream. It's like a dream sequence as well, and it just still kind of shocks me that was in a PG film.
It's probably the most.
I feel like if Spielberg wasn't involved with that, I don't think they would have got away with that. I think Spielberg must have used a bit of his clout for that. Like
100%, I reckon. Yeah.
I don't think Tobe Hooper's not getting that in a PG film on his own.
Imagine, yeah. Come on, guys! I made Texas Chainsaw Massacre. No.
Yeah. So as an opposite question, do you have a favorite Tobe Hooper movie? Is there any of his films that you like? I know you don't like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but is there any of his films that you do enjoy?
I'm not really an expert. I mean, the films you listed before, it was Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Salem's Lot, and this one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I really enjoyed Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 when we went to watch it. Yeah. That was a laugh riot.
Yeah, it's a totally different tone. And I do like, you can watch both of them and you can tell, that's the 70s, and you're like, that's the 80s. Yeah. The 80s. I really enjoy the second one. It's proper silly. It's
so much fun. It's just ludicrous.
And it was a great movie. It was a perfect movie to watch after a good afternoon of drinking as well. And
I was hammered.
A massive bucket of Red Stripe that we have outside.
That upselling bastard at the bar.
I do like that film.
I would have said Salem's Lot. I would have liked that more if I'd not seen Midnight Mass.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I'd say Poltergeist would be my favorite.
Yeah,
Tobe Hooper film. I just think it's, like you said near the beginning, he's clearly worked really well with Spielberg.
Yeah,
and it's produced the best ghost haunted house film put to cinema. And I feel because I've got no love for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Poltergeist goes all the way up to the top just because it's 40 years old. It's still a great film. Its longevity is just incredible.
Yeah,
and I've got no complaints with the film whatsoever. I just find it so enjoyable.
It is. It's very fun. It's goes at a good pace as well.
I was gonna say it's got like it's an hour 54 run time. Doesn't feel like it.
Not at all. Not at all. I love the I love the look of like the street as well, the suburban kind of like the new build street.
Yeah.
That it is. Apparently it's like the guy who owns the house now, like he just has people taking photos outside of his house all the time.
That's boss.
Yeah, but they said they did. I know a lot of the interior stuff was filmed on a soundstage, but they did film some of the end outside as well. So that must have been weird. When they used real skeletons, and I think they used some of the kitchen as well, which I think some of the weird shit happened in there as well. So, that'll be quite funny.
I'm given we've not spoken about the absolute star of Poltergeist, which isn't Craig T. Nelson. It's, I'm going to try and say this right, Zelda Rubinstein.
Yeah, she's iconic.
Completely stole the show.
Yeah,
and like you said, iconic because everybody knows the line, that the voice and the line. This house is clean. which
I originally knew from Ace Ventura. until I watched Poltergeist, and I was like, oh, that's where that's from. It's absolutely, yeah, she does. And I don't think she's in it that like maybe like probably most of just the third act really. But yeah, I know a lot of people do complain about the once like all the what I don't know, what would you call them, the people that come for the like the ghosts. I was going to say Ghostbusters.
for the sake of this, Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray.
Yeah. Once they got the Ghostbusters round, I can't pronounce, like the paranormal people they were trying to find the ghosts anyway.
The paranormal nerds.
Yeah, they do. Like a lot of people complain like of that part, saying it's not it gets a bit less interesting, but. No, I like that part as well. And as I say, once Zelda Rubinstein's in it as well, it definitely turns into her film.
Yeah, you just she's got this this presence.
Yeah,
like one, you're fascinated by how she looks and sounds, but she holds your attention.
Absolutely.
And you're like, what is this crazy woman going to say now?
Yeah. They must have, like, once they actually got her as well in it, they must have been like, I couldn't imagine anyone else playing this role.
Yeah. We got a blockbuster.
Like I said as well, I mean, I still feel like Insidious was just, they tried to kind of use that part as well, didn't they, with like the paranormal investigators. Mm. That's what I was trying to say earlier. And again, just not done as well as it is in Poltergeist. It's just that type of magic. I just don't think it's ever been recreated. But yeah, and she was in a few of the sequels as well. The sequels are pretty bad from what I remember, but yeah,
I believe so.
I'm sure she was in the second one if I remember correctly.
But is the second one the one with the slim man?
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by that one. I'd like to give that one a watch.
Yeah, I'd give it a watch. They're not great though. They could have done something really great with that as a series. From what I remember, it was pretty bad.
Tis the style for a horror sequel.
Yeah, I always remember that guy really freaking me out though.
Yeah, me sister was saying that when we were watching it, like always talking about the really skinny guy. Like, I've never seen it. I kind of want to see it now.
And I think in the third one, like, because he'd passed away by the time they did the third one, and I think they used like a prosthetic mask on someone else, but it was of his face.
Ooh.
I think he looked even creepier.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah.
Would you ever get a prosthetic mask of your face, Gib, and wear it and see if anyone...
A mask of my face on my face?
Yeah.
Why not?
Go on then.
Keep the cobwebs off, won't it?
I can imagine it being like, I can't, this is going to be terrible. I can't remember the comedian. He had a Netflix show. And one of his sketches was he was going to do a prank in a mall in the States. And he was really bad prosthetics and padding. And he has a breakdown in the middle of the mall going, I can't do this. I can't. And he's got the radio. He's got the people in the van because it's meant to be like a prank video.
Yeah.
Go on, you can do this. You can do it. He's like, I can't fucking do it. I can't. And he's freaking out when loads of people just walk around going, what's going on?
God, it sounds like Impractical Jokers or something.
It's kind of like a piss taker, that.
Oh, right, okay.
I'm gust. I can't remember his name. It was hilarious. The whole show, I really liked it.
Are we diving again?
There we go. Well, I think we've covered all we can really cover with Poltergeist.
Yeah.
At least I'm happy with what we covered. It's we've waxed lyrical yet again.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of good things I could say about that film. I don't know whether it'd be in my like top 10 or anything, but it's definitely more I watch it as well, the more appreciation I have for it.
Yeah, 100%. I'm glad I rewatched it because it brought back all the warm, fuzzy feelings inside that I do have about cinema, Gib. In a very,
it's again, and not to say that it's those type of films that and they're just not made like that anymore, are they?
It's from a beautiful bygone era.
Yeah, like a film like that now would just be, it'd either be very tame or it'd be very mean spirited, and there's no middle ground.
It'd be terribly written, terribly edited.
Yeah,
it had jump scares coming out of its ass. It'd be.
I mean, again, you could just obviously the remake that came out a few years ago. It's a prime example, isn't it, of where those type of films are then and where they are now.
Yeah, 100%. Never remake classic films, Gib. Remake the films that didn't live quite up to the potential.
Yeah, I feel like that. I mean, that one must have been maybe like a license thing or something. Like I know these sometimes have to do sequels, remakes, just to like keep licenses and that. But there's just absolutely no need to remake it.
No one was calling for it.
No, I don't think even people were like even talking about it, and people talk about it more now, I think, as it's getting older and older. But just leave it alone. I'd watch like a sequel or something like that of it, maybe. Like if someone was going to do something, to do something good with it. But no, I think they should just leave it. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, just step the fuck off, leave it alone.
Yeah,
step off, cuz.
As the kids say.
Yeah, as all the kids in Liverpool say. Right then, Gib, we'll leave it there, mate. Thank you very much for coming on and making and for putting up with all my divergencies. Is that a word?
Yeah, I think it was both of us diverting away from Poltergeist.
Both as bad as each other. So we'll leave it there, mate. Thank you for coming on again. And I look forward to more podcasting with you in the very near future.
Yeah, see you at the next one.
That's right. Cheers, Gib. Adios.